In the heart of Russia, a family's reign met a tragic end. The Romanovs, a name synonymous with Russian royalty, saw their empire crumble in the face of revolution and unrest. Tsar Nicholas II, the last emperor of Russia, was a man of tradition and duty. He believed in the divine right of kings, a belief that would ultimately lead to his downfall. His wife Alexandra and their 5 children Olga, Tatiana, Maria, Anastasia, and Alexei were the heart of his world. Together, they faced the growing discontent of a nation on the brink of revolution. Their disappearance marked the end of a dynasty that had ruled for over 300 years. The Romanovs had been the face of Russian power and opulence, their lineage stretching back to the early 17th century. The year was 1918. The world was in turmoil, with the Great War having just ended and revolutions sparking across Europe. In Russia, the Bolsheviks had seized power and the Romanovs were caught in the crossfire. The world watched, captivated by the mystery surrounding their fate. Newspapers around the globe reported on the Romanovs, their every move scrutinized by an anxious public. The story of their last days is one of intrigue and sorrow. Held captive in the Ipatiev house, the family endured months of uncertainty and fear, their royal status offering no protection from the harsh realities of revolution. It's a tale of revolution, political turmoil, and ultimately, cold-blooded murder. The Bolsheviks, determined to eliminate any threat to their new regime, made the fateful decision to execute the Romanovs. Join me as we journey back in time to unravel the mystery of the Romanovs' final days. Through historical records, personal letters, and eyewitness accounts, we will piece together the tragic end of a once great dynasty. Russia in the early 20th century was a country on the brink. World War I had ravaged the nation, people were starving, the Tsar's grip on power weakened, whispers of revolution filled the air. In February 1917, the unthinkable happened. Tsar Nicholas II, facing overwhelming opposition, was forced to abdicate. His reign was over. He and his family were placed under house arrest, their fate uncertain. The Romanov family, once living in opulent palaces, now found themselves prisoners. They were moved from place to place, their future uncertain. Tsar Nicholas, known for his gentle nature, remained stoic. His wife, Alexandra, worried for their children. Olga, the eldest daughter, found solace in her diaries. Tatiana, the picture of grace, supported her mother. Maria, known for her kindness, tried to keep their spirits high. Anastasia, full of life, brought a spark of joy to their confinement. And then there was Alexei, the young heir, his frail health a constant concern. Section 4, the Ipatiev House, a place of shadows. In the summer of 1918, the Romanovs were moved to Ekaterinburg, a city in the Ural Mountains. Their new prison was a merchant's house known as the Ipatiev House. This imposing structure would become their final home. Their days were filled with uncertainty and fear. The guards, once sympathetic, grew increasingly hostile. The family clung to their faith, finding solace in prayer. They were allowed few visitors, their letters censored. The outside world seemed a distant memory. Section 5. A night of carnage, a century of questions. On the night of July 17, 1918, the unthinkable occurred. The Romanov family, who had ruled Russia for over 3 centuries, faced their tragic end. The night was eerily quiet, the kind of silence that precedes a storm. The air was thick with an unspoken dread, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The family was awakened in the dead of night and ordered to the basement. The children, still groggy from sleep, clung to their parents. The Tsar and Tsarina exchanged worried glances, their hearts heavy with foreboding. They had been told they were being moved for their safety, but the ominous atmosphere suggested otherwise. They were told they were being moved, but something felt different. The guards, usually stern but respectful, now had a cold, detached demeanor. The family could sense the change, the shift from captivity to something far more sinister. The walls seemed to close in on them as they descended the narrow staircase. The air was thick with tension. Every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind outside, seemed amplified in the oppressive silence. The basement was dimly lit, casting long, eerie shadows that danced on the walls. It was a place devoid of hope, a tomb waiting to be sealed. 11 souls descended into the basement: the Tsar, his wife, their 5 children, the family doctor, and 3 loyal servants. Each step they took echoed with the weight of their impending fate. The children, unaware of the full gravity of the situation, looked to their parents for reassurance. But even the Tsar, once the most powerful man in Russia, could offer none. What happened next remains shrouded in mystery. Gunshots rang out, screams were silenced. The brutal execution was swift and merciless, leaving no room for mercy or hesitation. The room, once filled with the whispers of a family, was now a silent witness to their tragic end. And just like that, the Romanov dynasty was no more. The echoes of that night would reverberate through history, leaving behind a legacy of questions and a void that could never be filled. The fall of the Romanovs marked the end of an era, a poignant reminder of the fragility of power and the inexorable march of time. Section 6. Unmasking the Truth, the Investigation. News of the Romanovs' death sent shockwaves around the world. The Bolsheviks, who had seized power in Russia, initially denied any involvement. An investigation was launched, but it was fraught with inconsistencies and cover-ups. The truth, it seemed, was buried along with the bodies. Years later, mass graves were discovered near Ekaterinburg. Forensic evidence confirmed the remains were those of the Romanov family and their servants. But questions lingered. Section 7. Legacy of a Dynasty, a mystery endures. The execution of Tsar Nicholas II and his family remains one of the most controversial events in Russian history. The Romanovs, once the epitome of imperial grandeur, met a tragic and brutal end in the basement of the Ipatiev house in Yekaterinburg. This event marked not just the end of a family but the end of an era, symbolizing the violent upheaval that Russia was undergoing. The revolution sought to erase the old order, but in doing so, it created a haunting legacy that would endure for generations. It was a brutal end to a dynasty, a tragic reminder of the human cost of revolution. The streets of Russia were filled with chaos and bloodshed as the old regime was dismantled piece by piece. The Romanovs, who had once lived in opulence and power, were reduced to mere pawns in a larger political game. Their deaths were meant to be a statement, a final severing of ties with the past. Today, the Ipatiev house is a pilgrimage site, a place where visitors pay their respects to the fallen Romanovs. The church on the blood now stands on the site, a solemn reminder of the family's tragic fate. People from all over the world come to Yekaterinburg to honor their memory, to reflect on the turbulent history that led to their demise. The site has become a symbol of both reverence and reflection, a place where history is not just remembered but felt deeply. But their story doesn't end there. The Romanovs have become more than just historical figures. They are legends. Their possessions, their photographs, and their stories continue to captivate the imagination of people around the world. The mystery surrounding their final days has only added to their allure, making them subjects of endless fascination and speculation. Rumors persisted that Anastasia, the youngest daughter, had somehow survived. This possibility sparked the imagination of many, leading to countless stories, books, and films. The idea that one of the Romanovs could have escaped the tragic fate that befell the rest of her family was a tantalizing notion that refused to die. Books and films explored this possibility, keeping the Romanov legend alive. From animated movies to historical novels, the story of Anastasia's possible survival has been told and retold, each version adding a new layer to the enduring mystery. These works have ensured that the Romanovs remain a part of popular culture, their story continually reimagined and reinterpreted. The mystery of their last days, much like the Russian Revolution itself, continues to fascinate and haunt us. The Romanovs are a poignant reminder of a world that was irrevocably changed, a symbol of the fragility of power and the enduring human spirit. Their story is a testament to the complexities of history, a narrative that refuses to be forgotten.